"Why don't you just disappear?" my stepson yelled in a rage. His mom agreed, "We'd be happier without you." I packed my bags in silence, then my phone exploded with 15 missed calls. But what was behind his words? The air in the dining room crackled with tension as my stepson, Jake, slammed his fork down, his voice slicing through the hum of our usual family dinner. "Why don't you just disappear?" he spat, his 17-year-old eyes blazing with a fury I hadn't seen before. It started over something small, his phone buzzing incessantly against our no texting at the table rule. I'd asked him to put it away, my tone calm, practiced after 4 years of navigating his teenage moods. But tonight that wasn't enough. His mother, Sarah, my wife, set her glass down hard enough to make the water slosh. "Maybe we'd all be happier if you did," she said, her voice low but sharp, like a blade slipping between ribs. The room went still. I didn't argue, didn't shout. I just stood, my half-eaten chicken cooling on the plate, and walked upstairs. 4 years of building something with them. I thought of the time Jake grinned at my terrible pun over pizza, the late-night talks about his basketball tryouts, the day Sarah squeezed my hand when he asked me to teach him how to drive. Now those memories felt like borrowed things slipping away. In our bedroom, I pulled my duffel bag from the closet, stuffing in clothes for a few days. My hands didn't shake, that surprised me. Downstairs, I heard their whispers, Jake's sharp-edged, Sarah's muted, but no one followed. "I'll be at Mark's," I said, keys jingling as I grabbed them. Sarah stood in the kitchen doorway, arms crossed, but said nothing. I left, the door clicking shut behind me, and drove into the night, wondering how it had come to this. Before we dive in, please like this video and let us know in the comments what is your favorite song. Your encouragement keeps these inspiring tales coming. Now let's get started. I woke to sunlight filtering through Mark's guest room curtains, my phone buzzing with notifications, 15 missed calls, most from Sarah, a few from Jake, even one from my brother Ethan. I silenced it and drove back home that Sunday morning, needing my laptop for work. The house was too quiet when I stepped inside, the kind of silence that presses against your chest. Something felt off, but I couldn't place it until my gaze landed on the living room wall. The big photo frame above the couch, the one from our camping trip to the Adirondacks 2 summers ago, caught my eye. I was gone from it. Not blurry or faded, just absent, leaving Jake and Sarah grinning awkwardly around an empty space. I checked the others. The beach trip last year, Jake's middle school graduation, all the same. 4 years of family moments and I'd been erased. Coffee still in hand, growing cold, I heard Jake's door creak upstairs. His footsteps hesitated at the top of the stairs, then descended slowly. He appeared, phone clutched tight, avoiding my eyes as he aimed for the kitchen. "Morning," I said, keeping it neutral. He didn't respond, just brushed past, the silence thick with purpose. I stood there, staring at the gaps where I used to be. It wasn't just teenage rebellion, Jake had been pulling away for weeks. Last month, he'd snapped when I offered to help with his history essay, snarling, "You're not my real dad." Sarah had heard but stayed quiet, her silence a wall I couldn't climb. Now this, photo stripped bare, felt like a message I couldn't unsee. What had changed? My phone buzzed again, Sarah. I let it ring. At Mark's, I sat with a beer he'd pressed into my hand, the TV muttering in the background. My phone sat dark. I'd turned it off after the morning's unanswered calls, but the quiet didn't last. "Miles is back," Mark said, casual as if mentioning the weather, sliding his phone across the table. There on Facebook was a photo of Jake's biological father, tagged at a diner downtown, timestamped 2 weeks ago. Miles, the guy who'd skipped out on child support for years, missed Jake's last 5 birthdays, and left Sarah scrambling to rebuild. My stomach twisted. I flicked on my phone, notifications flooding in. Sarah's text shifting from, "Where are you?" to "We need to talk," Jake's single "Call me" stark against the rest. Then Ethan's voicemail, "Saw Jake with some guy at the park. Looked intense." I scrolled Jake's Instagram, something I rarely did. A new post stared back. Him and Miles, arms slung around each other, captioned "Real blood, real talks." The comments were all fist bumps and fire emojis from his buddies. I remembered the last time Miles breezed through, when Jake was 13, promises of basketball games and a new life, gone in a week. Jake barely spoke for a month after. Sarah's latest text popped up. "Miles wants him to move out west with him." Please Matt, come home. 4 years of being Jake's steady ground, and now Miles was back, tugging at roots I'd thought were mine. Mark watched me waiting. He's up to something, I said, voice tight. Always is. My phone buzzed again, Jake. I didn't answer. Not yet. Monday morning, I was sipping coffee at Mark's when my phone rang, an unknown number. Mr. Carter? This is Mr. Hayes, Jake's guidance counselor at Westfield High. His voice was clipped, urgent. We need to discuss some changes Jake's made to his academic plans. Can you come in tomorrow? I agreed, my mind already racing. Jake had been laser-focused on college, AP classes, varsity basketball, a dream of engineering at Purdue. What could have shifted? Back at Mark's, I skimmed Sarah's texts again. He's serious about leaving, followed by, it's Jake. He needs you. Then Jake's voicemail, his usual bravado gone. Matt, I know I messed up. Just call me back, okay? I didn't. Not until I knew more. The meeting with Mr. Hayes confirmed my fears. Jake dropped his AP courses last week, he said, pushing a withdrawal form across his desk. He's quitting basketball too, says he's transferring to a school in California next semester. California. Where Miles had been posting about new beginnings. Hayes hesitated, then added, he asked for transcripts to be sent to 3 schools out there. Mentioned his dad's got a business starting up. My jaw tightened. I showed him Miles's latest text to our family group chat, still hadn't blocked me, about a game-changing announcement at dinner tomorrow. Sounds like a pitch, Hayes said, frowning. Jake's been distracted, secretive. I left the school, Jake's voicemail echoing in my head. He sounded small, uncertain, not the kid who told me to disappear. Something was wrong and I was starting to see the shape of it. My phone buzzed, Sarah again. This time I'd have to face it. I pulled into our driveway, Sarah's car parked crooked like she'd rushed in. She met me at the door, eyes red, words tumbling out. Miles is after his college fund, some tech scheme. I tried to stop it, Matt, but Jake won't listen. Before I could respond, the front door swung open. Jake froze, hoodie slung low, a new watch glinting on his wrist. Miles's gift, no doubt. What are you doing here? He muttered, defiance flickering but weak. I kept my voice steady. Dropping AP classes? Quitting basketball? What happened to Purdue? He shrugged, staring at the floor. Plans change. Dad, Miles says, there's bigger stuff out there. I set my laptop on the kitchen counter, pulling up files I dug into after Hayes's call. Miles's business registration, non-existent beyond a flashy website. His credit report, tanked, and 2 lawsuits from failed investments. This is who you're betting on? I asked, sliding the screen toward him. Jake's hands shook as he scrolled, the watch catching the light. He said you made him leave, he whispered. That I had to cut you out to show I picked him. Sarah gasped, but I held Jake's gaze. Look at the lawsuits. One's from a kid your age, college fund gone. His face crumpled, a tear slipping free. He said he'd changed, that we'd be a real family. Sarah stepped closer, but he waved her off. I knew it didn't add up, he said, voice breaking. I just wanted it to be true. He bolted upstairs, the slam of his door echoing. Sarah and I exchanged a look, relief, fear, resolve. This wasn't over. Late that night, my phone lit up with a text from Jake. Can we talk? Like old times? Ice cream at Benny's? I remembered those nights, post-basketball practice, him ranting about refs or algebra over Rocky Road. I drove to Benny's, the neon sign dim but welcoming. Jake was already there, hunched in a booth, 2 scoops melting in front of him. He looked up, eyes puffy. I screwed up, he started, voice raw. Miles, he's been texting my teammates' parents asking for money through me. Said it'd make us rich. He slid his phone over, showing group chats. Miles's smooth pitches, dollar signs, promises of the future. My gut clenched. This isn't just shady, Jake. It's illegal, securities fraud. He stared at his spoon, twisting it. I told him you were gone like he wanted. Thought it'd fix everything. His voice cracked. But you came back. We sat there, the hum of the freezer filling the silence, until he spoke again. He's announcing it tomorrow, wants me to sign over my savings at this big dinner. I leaned forward. We can stop him. Together. Jake nodded, slow at first, then firm. What he's doing, it's wrong, right? I pulled out my phone dialing Ethan. He'd know someone at the SEC. Yeah, kid. And we're gonna make it right. Benny, the owner, winked as he locked up behind us, leaving us plodding under the streetlights. For the first time in weeks, Jake looked like my stepson again, not Miles's pawn. The fight wasn't over, but the team was back. The restaurant buzzed with chatter as Miles held court at the head of the table, all charisma and slick promises. Jake sat beside him, stiff but playing along as planned. Miles had invited half a dozen parents, teammates' families, pitching his tech revolution over steak and wine. I'd slipped in late, taking a seat near the back, unnoticed. Ethan's SEC contact and Mark's DA friend had prepped me. 2 agents and an investigator waited outside, wired parents ready inside. Miles raised his glass, grinning. Jake's my partner in this family business, right, son? Sign that paperwork tonight and we're golden. Jake forced a smile, glancing my way. I stood as appetizers hit the tables. Mind if we add some guests? The door swung open and the agent strode in, badges flashing. Miles's grin faltered. What's this? He blustered, but the investigator cut in, listing charges. 7 fraudulent schemes, $1.8 million stolen across states. The wired parents nodded. Every word Miles had said was recorded. Jake pushed his chair back, voice steady. You're not my dad. He is. He pointed at me and the room held its breath. Miles bolted, knocking over a tray, but security nabbed him at the exit. As they cuffed him, he pleaded, Jake, tell them. Jake crossed his arms. You got what you deserve. The aftermath hit fast. News crews, victim calls, evidence piling up from Jake's texts. Miles's empire crumbled, facing 12 to 15 years. Jake looked at me as we left, a weight lifting. We did that, he said. I clapped his shoulder. Yeah, we did. The house felt different that next week, quieter but warmer. Jake hauled a box of Miles's old letters to the garage, muttering, evidence for the DA. He'd reapplied for his AP classes, the school bending rules after his story hit the local news. Basketball tryouts were back on his radar too. One night he plopped down beside me with a laptop. College essay help? Got a wild story now, how I took down my biodad scam. We laughed, the first real one in months, and I watched him type, his focus sharp again. Sarah joined us later, sliding photo albums across the table. Found these in his room, she said. Jake had taped me back into the pictures. Adirondacks, the beach, his hands careful, deliberate. Sarah and I started counseling, peeling back layers of trust we'd let fray. It wasn't perfect, but it was a start. One morning, Jake handed me an envelope. Miles wanted me to mail this. Investment stuff. Thought you'd want to give it to the feds. We drove to the DA's office together, dropping it off, then hit Benny's for ice cream. Can this be our thing again? He asked, grinning over mint chip. Always, I said. Tonight we're having dinner, just us 3. Jake's cooking burgers, a recipe he picked up from me during lockdown. Miles's sentencing looms next month. Jake's drafting a statement, words precise, reclaiming his voice. He showed it to me yesterday. Needs a strong finish, he said. I read it, his real path shining through. Sometimes winning isn't just stopping the bad guy. It's building something better after.